Alright, so today we are going to be adding integers. Remember, integers is just another mathematical term for numbers. So basically all we're doing is adding numbers. So there are two different ways that we're going to be adding. The first one is that we're going to be adding integers with the same sign. And the next one later on is I'm going to show you how to add integers with a different sign. So let's look at the two rules on how to add integers with the same sign. I recommend writing these down. So if both integers are positive, the answer is positive. This is what we are used to seeing. So, for example, let's say that we have 4, which is a positive number, and we are going to add a 3, which is also another positive number. So the answer, 4 plus 3, is 7. It is a positive 7. Now, if both integers are negative, then the answer is always going to be negative. So if we have negative 2, and we are adding a negative 3 to it, think of it as you're taking just 2 plus 3, which is 5, and since both integers are negative, we have negative 2 and negative 3, the answer is going to be negative. So the answer is going to be a negative 5. Alright, so this is kind of a simple concept, but what I want you to do right now is to look back in your notes, try these 3 problems, pause the video, and unpause it when you're ready to see the way that I've done it. Alright, so I know that I gave you these 3 problems. Number 2 is a little tricky for you, I'm sure it is. So let's look at the first one. We have negative 3 plus a negative 6. So both answers are negative, so the answer is going to always to be negative. So we have 3 plus 6, so that is 9. So the answer, negative 3 plus negative 6, is negative 9. There you go.
2 plus 2 equals 4.
And if we have negative 5 plus negative 1, remember it's a negative plus a negative, so the answer is going to be negative. So negative 5 plus negative 1, 5 plus 1 is equal to 6. So negative 5 plus negative 1 is equal to negative 6. So when we are adding integers with a different sign, I have 2 steps for you. The first step is to find the difference between the 2 numbers, which is basically mean I want you to subtract the 2 numbers. So the difference is for the subtraction. So let's look at the example below. Just don't look at the negative signs. I just want you to subtract it like they're both regular positive numbers. So if we have 9 minus 4, that is equal to 5. So just remember that we have the number 5. Now, the second step, which integer has a bigger absolute value? So let's look at the integers that we have below. We have a negative 9 and we have a positive 4. So which one of these numbers are larger? Is 9 a larger number or is 4 a larger number? In this case, the 9 is the larger number. So then the answer is that integer sign. So this is a negative 9, so the answer is going to be negative. So in this answer, negative 9 plus 4 is equal to. So let's try a couple of these problems. Let's look at the first one. We have negative 7 plus 5. Remember, our first step, we're supposed to find the difference between the 2 numbers. We have 7 and we have 5. So 7 minus 5 is equal to 2. So we know it's at least going to be 2. Now, remember the second step. We're trying to figure out which number's absolute value is larger. And then the answer is going to be that integer's sign. So if we have 7 and we have 5, so the absolute value of this is the larger one is 7. So this is a negative 7. So the answer is going to be negative 2. So negative 7 plus 5 is equal to negative 2. So let's look at the second one. Remember, we have to find the difference between the 2 numbers first. So if we have 9 and we have 8, so 9 minus 8 is equal to 1. So we know the answer is at least going to be 1. Now let's look to see which number is greater. We have a plus 9 and we have a negative 8. Remember, the absolute value of positive 9 is 9, and the absolute value of negative 8 is 8. So which one is greater? That'd be 9. So the answer is going to be positive. So the answer is going to be just a positive 1. So 9 plus a negative 8 is equal to positive 1. Now what I want you to do, pause the video, try the next one, and then unpause the video when you're ready to see the way that I did it. Alright, so remember, first step, find the difference between the two. So we have 16 minus 13. So 16 minus 13 is 3. Now we have to figure out which number's absolute value is larger, and then that integer's sign is going to be the answer. So if we have the absolute value of 16 is 16, absolute value of negative 13 is 13. So which one's larger? 16 is larger than 13. So since this is a positive 16, their answer is going to be a positive 3. Now you may come across an expression or an equation where there are multiple numbers. So what I want you to do is to work as the order of operations. Just work it from left to right. So let's look at this part first. We have negative 7 plus negative 1. So from here we see that the signs are the same. We have a negative and a negative. So then we know that the answer is going to be a negative. So negative 7 plus negative 1 is negative 8. Bring everything else down. So now we have different signs. We have a negative 8 and we have a positive 7. So remember, when they're different signs, you find the difference between the two first. So the difference between 8 and 7 is 1. Now, look, now we try to find the absolute value of each integer. So the absolute value of negative 8 is just 8, and the absolute value of positive 7 is just 7. So which one is larger? That would be, the absolute value of this is 8, so that one is larger. And this one is a negative, so our answer is also going to be negative. So our answer is negative 1. Now pause the video, try this next one on yourself, and then unpause the video when you're ready to see what I have done. Alright, so remember, work left to right in order of operations. So we have a negative 5 plus 4. Remember that we have opposite signs, so we're trying to find the difference between the two first. So the difference between 5 and 4 is 1. And so look for the absolute value between negative 5 and 4. And the absolute value of negative 5 is 5. Absolute value of 4 is 4. We know that 5 is greater than 4. So the sign with negative 5 is a negative. So our answer is going to be negative. So we bring everything else down. So now we have a negative 1 plus a negative 5. And when we do that, remember, both signs are negative, so our answer is going to be negative. So now we have 1 plus 5, that is 6. So our answer is going to be negative 6.